Before we begin, and I start the first episode of Axiom, I just wanted to take a moment to talk. Before going into this series, I will warn you, the art isn't great. I drew it all. The voice acting isn't great. I did it all. But the story, well, I think I nailed this one. This, my channel's magnum opus, has been 2 years in the making. 2 years of teasing. It went through many delays, but it is finally here. I thank you all for those who have stuck with me long enough to see this series begin and to see the overarching story come to its end. If you are unfamiliar with that overarching story, I suggest watching my recap video as many events from both stories are relevant in this. This will be my only time I have this intro in the video. I want these all to seem like episodes of a show. No intro or outro monologue, just content. So without further ado, I, the Black Phoenix, proudly present to you all Axiom, a Pokemon fanfiction. Prologue. The night is late, and the only light alive in Chimera Tower is the CEO office where Dante Lark worked hard planning the next phase of his energy research program. The whole world has changed in the past 6 years when Dante did the unthinkable and used an ancient wish-granting book known as the Damne Imperatum. The book granted Dante his every desire, power, knowledge, everything he needed to change the world. With the formation of the Chimera Corporation, Dante took the world by storm. He absorbed and bought out all major technology companies that would dare think of rivaling him. Slithco, the Devon Corporation, the Aether Foundation, just to name the major ones, are all now part of a larger conglomerate that is Chimera. Regardless of the hate his company gets, Dante has done countless good deeds with his dark wisdom the book granted him. He has found cures for countless fatal ailments. He has solved the world's hunger problems. He has even made progress towards the encroaching overpopulation that is starting to plague the planet. Now, one major problem has reared its ugly head: the energy crisis. When he asked the book for a solution, it gave him visions of Ultra Space, the twisted home of the strange Pokemon the world has marked as Ultra Beasts. The visions he received were more akin to hallucinations of a fever dream, but the knowledge they gave him was insurmountable. He saw a great stream of raw, untapped energy flowing through Ultra Space, like a mighty, infinite river. This source can be tapped into, and energy can be siphoned off of it. This was the knowledge given to him by the Dark Book. But the question that remained now was how to get there, and how to tap that source. Dante confided into his father for queries like this. While he is no longer the world's renowned archaeologist, his knowledge of fringe science has proved more useful than the Damne Imperatum. Norman Lark had a strong belief in an ancient race of human-like Pokemon known as the Varians, and Dante believed his father in their existence since he too has come across their ruins. The wish-granting book itself is rumored to be a product of their connection to Ultra Space and the creatures that were worshipped as gods. So to Dante, his father's theories and ideas are as good as fact. Norman believed the answers his son seeks will be found in the ruins of what used to be the capital of the Varian Empire. Its name has been lost to time, but the location, the madness of Norman's mind pinpointed it to the unnamed region, a frozen wasteland at the southernmost point of the planet, deep in the heart of the Antarctic. After giving this news to his son, Dante gave his father everything he needed to find the city. A full-funded expedition set out weeks ago with that very goal. The media and the public didn't know this though, and are under the impression they are going to discover new variant forms of existing Pokemon. All contact with the expedition has ceased, and anxiety is now running high for both Dante, his family, and the shareholders of Chimera. Until he gets the approval to lead a search party for his father, he is forced to stay put in Kanto region, working on the means to tap into the energy stream in Ultra Space. Dante's personal line begins to ring. He glances at who is calling. It is his mother, Victoria. He lets out a sigh and hits the button on the phone that mutes the ringing. Dante watches the blinking light that lets him know someone is calling. It blinks and finally goes out. He unmutes the phone and returns to his work. Not even a minute later, the phone rings again, and it is his mother. He mutes it again without even thinking and focuses on the work at hand. The light dies again and Dante is left in peace to his work. That peace does not last long. Not even 5 minutes later, Dante's secretary reaches on the intercom. "Sir?" she asks meekly. "What?" He snaps, his face turning a shade of red, being disturbed yet again. It's your mother. She said they heard on the news the explorers from the Center research team found your father's camp. It was in ruins. Dante's face pales as he turns on the television in his office. It is all over the news. There is no signs of life or survivors. Also no body, so there is still hope. Dante presses the intercom to talk. Lisa, cancel all my appointments and get my helicopter ready. Mr. Lark, you can't be serious, Lisa says in protest. I am. Now do as I say. I need to find my father. Chapter 1. The Fringes of Civilization. The icy air blows as Dante makes his way through the snow to the ruins of his father's expedition. The tents are all shredded and almost everything is missing. Dante lifts off the goggles protecting his eyes and examines the mess. There is no sign of a struggle and their snow track is missing. The wind and the snow have covered some of the tracks left by the vehicle, but they are there and can be followed. They are out there and Dante knows it. He returns to the snow track he borrowed from the Center research team that found the ruined camp. Dante heads in the directions the tracks go. He was first to arrive in the rescue team he sent out. He could not wait for them to do his search. His father is out in this frozen waste because of him. The tracks go on for miles, leaving Dante alone with his thoughts for hours. Norman Lark was so enthusiastic to go on this expedition. Dante didn't think twice about letting his father go. Just the idea of an intact Varian city was enough for Norman to jump at this chance. He regrets it so much in this moment. Dante drives at the fastest pace the snow track will go, which is still too slow for his liking. The tracks fade into fresh ice and snow about a mile into the journey. Referring to the maps, Dante finds that there is only one place they can possibly be going. A large mountain range that covers a large part of the frozen region. Some scans and research the Chimera Corporation has done on this mountain revealed a vast cave and cavern system leading deep into the land. Norman Lark believes that this is where the Varian city resides, hidden from the world. Dante is almost convinced that they are heading there. But only question is, why did they abandon the camp? Something isn't right and he knows it. The mountain range appears on the horizon like a foreboding sentinel. Titan's Range, Dante says under his breath as the mountain grows as he gets closer. Near in the massive apex, something catches his eye, causing Dante to stop the snow track. Stepping back into the snow, he trudges his way through the massive drift until he finds the abandoned snow-covered snow track that Norman and his team used to leave the safety of the camp. Dante clears the snow from the window and the cabin peers in. Nothing. Total emptiness that gives Dante hope. There are no bodies, so there is still hope his father's team is still alive. He judges that there are about 3 more miles until he reaches the mountains. They could be alive and safe inside those caves. With hope driving him, Dante gets back into a snow track and closes the distance between himself and the Titan's Range. The massive mountain range shrugs off the snow that comes down as hard as a tempest. The black stone shines and almost glows in the storm. It's not natural, but as Dante knows, there is nothing natural about this situation. A massive fracture in the face of the mountain acts as a mouth into the darkness of the cave system. Leaving the snow track, Dante takes everything he will need to explore the caves. The stone inside is dry and the same black color as the mountain itself. His footsteps echo on the stone walls of the cave as he descends into the abyss. Dante's flashlight reflects off the almost black metallic stone, illuminating much more than it normally would. He stops to examine the stone. Pulling his glove off, he grazes his hand across the stone. Hematite, Dante says quietly, though his voice echoes down the cave. Covering his hand again, he pushes forward down the dark cave. Time and space itself seem to distort in this place. It is either Dante's imagination or something else, but the cave almost moves as if breathing. The cave splits off into 2 separate directions up ahead, and in one cave lies what Dante has been fearing to find. He examines the frozen remains closely. They are not his father. It's hard for him to determine how long the corpse has been here, frozen, stuck in this cave with only a dimly lit glow stick as a grave marker. Traveling further down into the cave, Dante finds more grim markers leading the way into madness. The full team he sent here, all except his father, their deaths are on his hands. The part that scares Dante deep down is that he doesn't see them as dead men and women. He only sees them as means to an end. If he finds what he sent them here for, this would all be an acceptable loss. The cave spirals further down into the frozen earth, and there are no signs of his father's body. This is what drives him to press further. In Dante's mind, his father is alive and well. He is stronger than those that froze to death. He has the same drive as his son. That is one thing they always had in common. The obsessive drive that gets things done, but also destroys lives and families. Dante is reminded of that every time he looks at how his family turned out. Norman Lark's obsession destroyed his marriage. and now it may be costing him his life. Dante shakes his head of these thoughts and descends further and further down. The breathing walls of the cave seem to grow, getting larger the further Dante goes down. This gives him hope that it will open to a cavern soon. He was never the claustrophobic type, but after his excursion, he will never want to see closed space ever again. The light from Dante's flashlight soon fades away from the walls as a massive, empty space greets him. The darkness is almost absolute from the black stone walls. Dante shines the flashlight around and doesn't even see the other side of the cavern. "Dad?" He yells out as loud as he can. His echo responds and bounces around until it fades into silence. His eyes begin to adjust to the new darkness, and soon he is able to see what he couldn't. "Impossible," he says, dropping the flashlight. In the center of the cavern, over 100 feet below him, is the ruins of the Vorian city, and in its center a massive temple reaching almost halfway up to the cavern's ceiling. He looks closer and spots a trail of dying glow sticks leading up to the temple. Dante can't help but laugh at his father's breadcrumb trail. "Dad, that fool is alive," he says with overflowing joy. He picks up the flashlight and makes his final descent into the ancient city of a long forgotten race.